and we're going to give it a second because right now on Facebook, on YouTube we have 0 people. Facebook we probably have more than that, but we are going to do a live Q&A for the next few minutes or hour at the most. It just depends on
if anyone shows up.
If anyone shows up, and if you guys have any questions for us about 2 things really, either tomorrow's schedule of the drive-by, say hi, or on upcoming, church gatherings, plans, anything that you could ask us or that topics brought up. So you can email me or Pastor Lance, pastor@ebcnewington.com, pastor@ebcnewington.com, or Lance@ebcnewington.com. And I am sitting here with my computer open, prepared to answer those questions. And so while we give it a second, Lance, why don't you give everybody that jumps on here the rundown of tomorrow and what we're doing, and just kind of give them the highlights and how, if they haven't reserved a time yet, how they can reserve a time.
Yeah.
I'm going to go make my French press coffee. I'll be right back.
Pastor is a coffee connoisseur. Now he's into the, you said French press, right? French press. He's big time now. He's made it to another, just a whole nother level. But while he's doing that, just a couple quick things, church family. If you're interested in coming to our drive, I keep butchering the name, but I think it's Drive By Say Hi. We went over so many different names yesterday when we were kind of piecing this together. So Drive By Say Hi is going to be tomorrow from 9 a.m. Till about 12:30. And today we sent out a text to our whole church family. So if you didn't get that, let us know. Put that in the comments, and hopefully we can link you to that. But you can click on that, or you can check your church email. We sent that out, I think this morning as well, maybe last night. This morning. So the link is in there as well. But basically what we're doing is this is a bit of a transitional Sunday. So we're not going to be having live services. We actually pre-recorded our services today, which was really weird. Not doing that live. I've just never done that before. So it was just interesting. So we pre-recorded our services, and those are going to be airing tomorrow at 8, 10, and noon. So we want to encourage you just to hop on whenever, and hopefully that'll help facilitate when you can come to our drive-by. So we put out 3 times for our actual service that was pre-recorded, so that you can then, after or before, come to our drive-by. Basically, things when you come. If you'd like to stay in your car, we have just a pre-packaged little treat for the family that we're going to be handing out. You can just drive right through if you'd like and say hi and drive on out. You can stop in the parking lot and talk with people. There might be people that bring their lawn chairs and camp out for a few minutes and talk with people, socially distanced, of course. The third thing you can do is come in, and you can come into the building. We're going to allow about 50 at a time max, and you can see what Pastor's calling our special surprise that we've been working on while you've been gone. You can check that out. And the last thing you can do is go pray in the worship center. We really encourage all the families that come to this, that if you have a minute, stop in the worship center and just have a quick word of prayer. We have some very interesting days, fun, exciting days ahead for our church, and we would appreciate your prayers. And so it's going to be a special day of prayer as well. So that's what tomorrow is. We're excited.
Okay, so far, now we're 90 seconds behind on the Facebook feed. So I see Sarah, I see Natalie, I see David Kelly, the Zemlocks,
Kalelas.
Yeah, Kalelas, who are in Arizona, have an In-N-Out burger for me. I miss you guys.
My grandma's on here.
Yes. Granny wants to know, who is her favorite grandchild?
We all know that. That goes without saying.
Who is it?
I'm number 1. Number 1.
Okay, Sarah wants to see the coffee bar, so get out of the way.
Oh.
Get out of the way, and we'll show Sarah the coffee bar. So this is Dana's handiwork right there. We got all the mugs and stuff down underneath here. We got the coffee in the drawers, And then we have the coffee maker that I don't use anymore, the grinder, and then all the little condiments right there and all the decorations.
You
So
know,
yeah.
your thumb, I think your thumb's in the way. Oh,
No, just a little bit.
there we go. Yeah, he's fancy. He's real fancy back here with all his
Okay.
amenities.
That's actually Mom's creation, that coffee bar.
Good
So,
job.
okay, then let me see here. We've got other people showing up. Hi, Joanne, and hi, Sarah again, and Lucinda is definitely excited for tomorrow. That's awesome to hear. My friend Scott Toole, man, Scott and I are like therapy for each other, and we keep talking each other off the edge of the cliff. So thank you, Scott, for your friendship to me and your encouragement. Lance Schmidt, if you're watching, how cool.
Come on.
Tisha and others are joining. So we need some questions, and until you send some questions, other than who's my favorite grandchild, we're going to talk about. So let me give you my heart for tomorrow, okay? And you monitor the questions,
will.
okay? If we get
I
any
will.
questions and stuff like that. This is a very difficult place to be, and I'm glad I'm not a governor or the president or somebody responsible for a lot more people. So I am really praying for our leaders because they are pinched between a rock and a hard place. And one thing that I do know about leadership in a moment like this is you are surrounded by very strong opinions, okay? And by strong opinions, I mean there are people legitimately touched deeply, closely, intimately by this virus. And so they take it very seriously, okay? And there are others at risk, and they're very concerned about their health. You can swing the pendulum to the other end of the spectrum, and there are people who are just, if they're concerned about the virus, they're just not concerned for themselves. They don't care if they get it or not. They think they're likely not going to get it, or likely will overcome it quickly if they do. So they're much more focused on their rights and their liberties and their freedom to go about their daily routines and like set me free and get out of my way. And so when you're a leader, you're trying to find that space between caring about people's health and safety and facilitating people's liberty. And so it's so much smaller of a spectrum for me regarding our church or school than it would be a governor or a president. And there's, like I said, there's very, very strong opinions. Everybody who has an idea of what we should do has a very strong idea about what we should do. So, and the ideas range from we should wait much longer to open church or regather, to all the way to we should already be regathering and we should have never stopped, and everywhere in between. Most of the people in our church family that I've talked to are, I would say, cautiously optimistic, and they're the better balance of right in the middle of, they're concerned about the virus, they want to be wise and careful, but they also want to be gathering soon. There are many in our church that won't gather soon because of their health risk or their safety, not necessarily fear as much as caution, because they have legitimate reason to be cautious. And I totally support that. There are others in our church family that can't wait to gather and wish we were gathering tomorrow, especially after the president said we can all go to church. So the biggest thing I would ask for is wisdom and patience. I would ask you and unity. I really ask our church family, and this is what I've experienced up to this point for the most part, but I'm asking you again, just continue to be patient, unified, and let's follow the Lord together. And let's hold our opinions softly, okay? I am a very opinionated person as well. I can be very strong in my opinions, but I'm trying to have a kind of a comprehensive or holistic view. I'm trying to see this through many sets of eyes. And it looks different when you look at it through different eyes. You look at it from a state that doesn't have much of an outbreak and whose governor may be overreached in panic, that's a set of eyes. You look at it from the lens of a person that's had it or maybe is in the hospital with it right now, that's a different set of eyes. Someone who has lost a loved one, that's a different set of eyes. I have 3 pastor friends that have had this. One nearly passed away and recovered. One fully recovered after being in the hospital. And then one is on a ventilator right now. So I know that we should take it seriously. At the same time, I feel a responsibility that as the numbers come down, we should start gathering soon. And so our heart, we live in a state in Connecticut where our governor has permitted us to gather up to 50. So what we're considering this week is implementing a reservation procedure like we have done the Drive-By Say Hi Sunday, and having gatherings up to 50, 2 or 3 times on a Sunday. And that would be not much, but it would be more than nothing, okay? And I would say this too, and I feel like I need to say, like, everything needs to be like, let me say this first, you know? Everything needs to be, let me say this first. Like, I trust God first. And I love our older members and our vulnerable members first, and your health is our first priority. And, you know, everything seems like a first priority right now. I want to say, no matter what we do, we will be fully engaged online like we are now indefinitely. Okay, so as long as there's vulnerable people and a threat like this, and people that want to stay home because of that threat, or even long-term shut in. This is why we did live stream 3 years ago. We started live 3 years ago. We started live stream, and we've been totally committed to it because people that can't come to church. So we're fully committed to you if you just are not ready, or you have. We're also fully committed to you, and we want safely and responsibly in compliance for you to be able to come and worship and attend church and be fed by the Word of God and enjoy some fellowship. There are also in all the church models kind of 2 wide-ranging approaches. And with our staff, I've been comparing them to Costco and Sam's Club. Sam's Club is much more controlling in terms of what direction I can walk, where aisles go, you know, how to stand. I mean, just they're much more micromanaged. And then Costco kind of gets you in the door safely and then says, you know, the store is yours, just try to social distance and be careful. And they're much more, the burden is much more on me as the individual to manage my own risk and to be thoughtful. Our plan is going to err towards you assuming your own level of responsibility and your own risk and being thoughtful towards others. We really just can't even conceive of church so micromanaged, so controlled, so bound up with rules and regulations that you just can't even hardly relax and enjoy the service. We want you to assume your own risk and manage your own risk and take your own liability and responsibility on yourself and be thoughtful of others. And then we'll do some basic things, you know, hand sanitizers and clean environments and social distancing, and we'll be thoughtful and careful. We'll have a streamlined offering of services, and it's going to be pretty bare bones too. For those of you that are wondering, what's it going to be like when we gather again? We won't be able to receive an offering because of passing the plate, so we'll continue to receive online, and we'll probably have an offering box or 2 somewhere in the building, easily accessible. We're going to try to make the building easily accessible. We're going to try to make things as touchless as possible. We won't be able to serve food and coffee. We probably will have some bottled waters and maybe some bottled coffees, some iced coffees. We will not have a choir yet. We won't have children's ministry yet. We won't have groups on site yet. We will continue to do online groups and online midweek. We'll probably just do Sunday mornings, just once a week gatherings for now. We will sing, whether with or without masks. I'm hoping masks will be optional. I'm not sure they do all that much. They make us feel safer, but I'm not sure they're that effective. We will sing. I think that's pretty critical to worship. We will open the Word of God, and we'll probably have a shorter service where Pastor Carey will be bound to be on time so that we can, reset the building. We'll sit every other row, and families can group together, but other than that, there'll be 6-foot gaps between people. Fortunately, we have a big building, and so we could probably have people sitting downstairs and upstairs watching and participating in the same service. So we're thinking along those lines, which would allow us to have two separate gatherings. And so there's ways we're trying to be creative and thoughtful and responsible at the same time. So more than anything, I just want to say this is not an easy place for any leader to be. And I'm not asking for any kind of empathy or sympathy. I'm not complaining. I'm just telling you to think about everybody in leadership right now, governors and presidents and all the people yelling at them, and city leaders and city officials, law enforcement. One thing we really don't want to do, we really don't want to put our law enforcement officers in Newington in the position of having to abide by their sworn duty under the governing laws of Connecticut versus honoring our constitutional rights as worshipers. We would rather avoid putting them in that position because we respect them and love them, and we have a great relationship and testimony with our city and law enforcement officers. So it is if you take the risk of the pandemic, the commands of Scripture, the laws of our governing body of Connecticut and the United States of America, and the opinions of people. You put those quadrants together, you put the pastor and the leaders right in the middle of all that tension. It is not an easy needle to thread and to get right. And it looks very different for churches in different cities and different states with different laws and governance, and with different size churches and with different age churches. So I think the other thing I'd ask you to do as a church family is don't compare us to other churches. There may be churches locally that gather before we do in full force because maybe they're a church of 80 or 100, whereas we're a church of closer to 800 to 1,000 people. And so we have to look at this very differently than, and we're in a hot spot or close to one, so we have to look at that as well. It is, like I said, it's not an easy needle to thread. After the president's announcement yesterday, I was like, yay, people are going to come to church and we're going to have church, And then it's like, wait, catch your breath. We got to be careful and thoughtful and responsible. At the end of the day, we're here to serve you, okay? And so whether we serve you online or whether we serve you in person, we're going to serve you. And whether it's in person or online is going to be up to you. And we're not going to love you any less or any more, whether we serve you in person or online. And we want you to navigate that as the Lord leads you. So I will stop there.
We got some questions.
Good. What are the questions?
We have just a couple, I think, easy to answer questions. Somebody wrote in, and it's David Santos wrote in and said, just to confirm, visitors of EBC can drive by tomorrow as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, we want you to. And I'll be honest with you, you can drive by even if you didn't make a reservation. We want you to make a reservation because it will help us with the traffic flow. We just didn't want everybody showing up at 11 o'clock. That would have been a problem. It looks like that there's a good spread.
What I would say is if you haven't registered, of course, we'd still love for you to come. And if you're a visitor and this is your first time hearing about this, of course, we'd love for you to come. Probably the times that work best would be like 10:30 and on, just because the early times look to be a little more full than others.
Yeah.
So maybe 10:30 to 12, somewhere in there. We'd love to see you.
Absolutely.
Second question. Man, I'm losing track of some of these.
I've got one here while you're looking.
Yeah, go.
Matt Marino says, I'm sure you guys have thought of this, but will there end up being multiple services each week to accommodate the attendance restrictions, which is kind of what I just answered, yes. Will these services be divided amongst the pastors? It's how many we have. If we do, we could very easily our services and we would all be engaged in our respective roles. And I think I could do that. If we had to go to 4 or 5 yeah, definitely. I don't think I'd want to preach 4 or 5 times in a row. So we would share that. Would members have to sign up for the available services with a limit on the capacity? That is what we will implement. So, but here's what will happen. It will be, either way, it will be an imperfect system. We will ask our church family to, like we're doing today, the registration. And there's 2 ways that we do this that are really effective. We have our church database. It's like God set us up for something like this over the last couple of years. We implemented a database system that allows us to have events just like tomorrow, that you can pick a time slot and boom, that slot's full. So we could open up, 50 or 100 or 200 slots, depending on what the governor allows us to do. And then those can be reserved for specific times. And that's probably how we'll function to like 80 to 90% of the reservation system. But I expect that we'll want to be flexible too. There are some in our church that are not real tied into technology, and we always want to accommodate people that show up. And then, of course, guests that don't know they have to reserve a spot. We always want to be flexible for them. So I think there's going to be a little give and take, but we will try to implement some reservation system. So that was a good question, Matt, and you're thinking along the same lines we are.
I had another question, and I think it also came to your email as well, but somebody did just ask about, if we're going to be required to wear masks, and he, addressed that a minute ago. But in case you missed that and you're just hopping on, I think we're going to follow pretty closely as far as what the government is going to require us to do. And if it's not a requirement, I think it's safe to say we're probably going to maybe suggest it for those who, would. I think we're still making that decision, but it's largely dependent on what the government is going to require us to do.
I was told this week the governor has appointed a church work group that are appointed to come out with church guidelines. And when he releases those, he's also possibly going to up the number or the capacity by which churches can gather. Because I know that leaders of larger churches in Hartford and around the capital there, we're pretty strong with the governor about their larger congregations being able to gather. And so we're expecting the state to give us some parameters, and we'll follow those. And then we will hope that the number will be increased so we can open up and have fewer services with a little larger gathering. And because we have a big building, we're in really good shape to be able to have more people safely, And if you've been to Lowe's or Costco or Sam's Club, I can tell you this: it's going to be safer to come to church than it is to go. I've seen them, and they are busy. They're and lots of transaction happening between people. And I don't think our church will even in any hour that we have will be as busy as one of those places. So we're gonna be safe as any place out there. I'll tell you personally, I'm hoping that they make masks optional, and then we'll just tell our church family, do what you're comfortable with. Again, personally, I doubt they make much of a difference, but they're a visual that make us feel a little safer for some reason. It's more psychological, I think, than scientific. But if they require them, then yeah, we'll have to have them.
Another question that came in. First of all, a lot of you are saying, "Hey, Dave Vallone hopped on here. Good to see you, Dave."
Dave, thank you for your friendship, man, and your prayers and encouragement. We love you. Dave's going to be one of our guest speakers this summer on Wednesday nights. I'll tell you about that in a second. Remind me to tell him about that before we leave. What else?
Okay, so somebody else wrote in, Sarah, and she said, "Do you need to know the number of people or vehicles in the drop down?" And if you're talking about tomorrow, Sarah, I don't think we have that option. We as far as vehicles, but we do ask how many people are coming tomorrow, so you can just mark that. As far as when we're coming back to church, we're definitely gonna craft like the registration process for us to know how many people are coming. But as far as vehicles, I don't think we're really gonna put that on there. I don't think.
No, and even when we do a registration system, it's not going to be. We're not going to turn people away. Okay, I mean, if the limit was 100 and we had 150 people show up, we would somehow mitigate that crowd. But what I'm saying is, if somebody didn't make a reservation and they come to church, there's going to be space for them. within reason. So I think we're going to be able to work together on that. It's the reservation system will be helpful. It just won't be law. So I saw also Amanda Hume posted on Facebook, and this is why we're doing this tomorrow. She said, tomorrow is giving me, let me go back here, giving me so much hope that things will be back to normal soon. That's what the Lord put on my heart yesterday. After the president's announcement, you know, when your president stands up and says Americans can go to church this weekend, he said that 3 times, this weekend. Immediately I thought, well, number one, people are going to probably come. And number two, how can we be compliant and facilitate the church members that want to be at church tomorrow? And I needed, for my own soul, I think, as well as Amanda is expressing, just a sense of progress. I need to face, even if it's 6 feet apart, and if it's just for a few minutes at a time, I just need to, I need to sense, and I think you do too, that we are moving forward and we're starting to stretch these muscles again. And I think it'll put some hope into our hearts. Having been to church and maybe spent some time in the auditorium, we're going to have music, our music videos streaming, playing, you know, just looped. So coming tomorrow will be, it'll be a moment of worship, even if it's short, that I think will be meaningful to you. If you do feel comfortable coming into the building, we're going to ask you to keep your kids with you, to social distance. We're going to really ask that you don't drop your guard. Here's one thing that I know is over the moments together, you could start to get more comfortable, or you start to drop your guard, and we really don't want hugging and handshaking. You want to do that, like go to the parking lot of Chick-fil-A and do that. But we really want to keep the environment compliant with our authorities. There's always risk. Safety is a subjective term. I think we all get that. I mean, if I go out in my car, if I open my mail, I'm at risk to get coronavirus, right? So clearly, if you come tomorrow, there is a certain measure of risk you're choosing to take. I'm choosing to take it as well to host the day. I think it's a reasonable risk in light of where we are and in light of how we'll be careful and how many times I'll wash my hands. But aside from that, I think, you know, at some point the risk to our hearts spiritually and our health spiritually becomes greater, and you just need to be around some people that you love and that love you. So that's why we're doing tomorrow. We want to put some hope into all of our hearts that we're making some progress. And most everybody has jumped in, and not most everybody, I don't know most, but the people that have responded have said, wow, we can't wait, this is going to be fun.
I wanted to take a quick moment, if it's okay with you, and I guess just kind of address our teams, because somebody commented, Karen commented, if you're still on here, Karen, she said, will greeters still be needed? And I guess I
She's
just
talking about tomorrow or going forward?
I don't think she's talking about tomorrow. I'm guessing she's talking about
Okay.
going forward. Yeah. And I guess I just wanted to start the conversation and first of all say we're about to send out a survey, I think early this coming week, and on there is actually a question that says, hey, would you like to continue, or would you be available or willing, you know, if needed, to continue serving on your team or a team? So make sure, you know, you mark that in there. But I think we're kind of going to revamp some of our teams just in the not long term, just in the short term, to kind of help with different things. So for example, we're going to need a team in between services when we do multiple services to wipe down surfaces and to make sure that, you know, different areas are clean. And so some of our current teams, you know, that might not be able to serve are going to need to be kind of funneled into different teams, or maybe turn into different teams. So all I'd say about this, and that you can go, is if you're interested and you're still ready, willing, available to serve in the coming weeks, you could email Pastor Stephen. He oversees a lot of our teams, and he'd be able to help kind of get you into that funneling process of us selecting those people in the weeks to come. So
let me comment on my thoughts on that. And who asked that question?
that was Karen Polchineri.
Okay, Karen, first thing I want to say is we absolutely need all of our teams. Yes. Big yes, big exclamation point. Everybody that's willing to serve, we're going to need all hands on deck in some way. Our children's team is on hold temporarily. Our nursery team is on hold temporarily. choir obviously on hold temporarily. All of it's temporary. Okay, we're going to come back to all these things. Our greeters, we will desperately need them. We will probably ask them to wear masks and probably distribute hand sanitizer as people come in the doors. I'm hoping the state won't require us to take temperatures. That's going to sure seem strange and weird and awkward. I probably would ask our church family to take your temperature before you come. That'd be wise. But I imagine greeters that are helping with traffic flow and giving out hand sanitizer. We're not going to hand out anything, so no bulletins. Again, touchless service is our goal. So if and when we do serve food, it'll be prepackaged eventually down the road somewhere. We'll eventually get back to coffee and pastries and things like that. It'll be a while. But we've talked about our ushers. We're going to desperately need them for flow, and counting is going to be critical. Offering procedures will be different, mostly online and in a box, a receiving box. We talked about our hospitality team. We were going to ask them to kind of help with the cleaning in between services. So yeah, we're going to people that are willing to serve and realign them temporarily with leaders to go forward, and it's going to all be very, very critical. So if you're willing to serve, that survey is going to be really important when we send that out. And if you're willing to serve, we're going to need your help. I'm just kind of cruising through comments as I see this. Sarah says no donuts. Yeah, believe me, I'm grieving too.
She says we should spray people with Lysol if they come into the building.
That would be awesome. Julie says she's incredibly impressed with how Emmanuel's handling this sensitive time. Thank you, Julie. That's an encouragement.
Hey, Yana has a good question. She's all the way at the end here. She just said, I might have missed it, but will nurseries be open the first few weeks? And this was something I wanted to get around to.
They won't.
Oh, hang on. Sorry. She said, will the lobby be available for one parent to sit with the littles?
Yes. Okay. So this is a really good question. What we're going to do in the first iteration of gathering is have multiple spaces where people can sit comfortably and distanced to suit their needs. And we haven't quite nailed this down. We're going to wait until we get the survey back. We might have a spot or a space. Say, for instance, we could have folks sitting in the worship center. We could have folks sitting in the lobby. Some do every week anyway because of health needs. We could also have folks sitting downstairs. We have a spacious fellowship hall. And so we will have those spaces all open so that families can find the space that's most conducive to their situation. If they're, managing a baby or something like that, we'll also probably have our nurseries opened up, not staffed, but opened up so that parents can go in there in limited numbers to change their kids, feed their kids, do what needs to be done. And we'll have the service on all those TVs. The good thing we've done the last couple of years, we've wired the whole building with that network of televisions. So we'll put the service everywhere. We'll probably buy a couple of 2 or 3 much bigger TVs and put them in the fellowship hall. And we will space out around that building and make it as conducive as possible for really 3 groups of people. We're thinking of individuals, then we're thinking of parents managing children, and then we're thinking of seniors or people that are at risk. We're also thinking of that in terms of entering and exiting the building. So for instance, we may have some doors towards the front of the auditorium. If you ever notice those double doors that go right outside, we might reserve those doors for our seniors only. So they come in, go out, their own entrance and exit, and don't even have to get in proximity to the lobby where there's a lot of people passing through. Our building has the main restrooms, and some people know this, some people don't. We also have these restrooms in unique places. Like we've got the choir room restroom, we've got the nursery restrooms.
Yeah.
It's just so we could very easily accommodate different groups of people in different ways. We're thinking through all that. Okay. I don't know what you thought was funny about the restroom.
Good stuff. No, I'm
a little entertained that you thought
we just have restrooms in the most random places. Like Yeah, that's just where I'm gonna stop. There's some really weird restrooms in our building that probably 60% of our church audience doesn't know even
Yeah,
exist.
that's true. They're hidden restrooms. They're
So,
mysterious restrooms.
A few other things. I mean, just to help put you at rest. No. I mean, like you said earlier, we're not going to be handshaking, hugging. We're not going to be passing out bulletins. I think maybe to replace some of the hosting. Oh, you got low battery here.
Oh.
Buddy. I think maybe to replace some of the coffee and stuff, we might be doing just like some grab and go, like the Dunkin' or Starbucks cold drinks that you get at gas stations and stuff. We might have those out just so you can kind of grab and go. But I'm trying to think of other things.
Matt Marino made a good point. Unless you're wearing a disposable respirator, I don't think a mask will really help you. I agree, Matt, from what I understand about how they work. So thank you for inputting that. The Revillis say they will be visiting soon. Karen, we're looking forward to meeting you. I hope you'll introduce yourself to me. And that goes to lots of new friends we've made online that we've never met. People that have been saved, new believers saying, I can't wait to get baptized. We got to figure that out. We've had folks that have been emailing me and saying we're going to come visit soon. And we're just looking forward to meeting a whole bunch of new people that are a part of our church family that we've never met. Isn't that ironic? Isn't that a strange sense? Dane Ingbertson, put me in coach. I'm ready to play.
Dane's awesome.
Yeah, that's honestly the spirit of most of our church family has been very supportive, and I love that. Such a blessing.
Somebody said that cough is making me nervous, and I just wanted to clarify. I have a post-nasal drip that's just
we both do.
Haunted me my whole life and will continue to haunt me my whole life. So no need to worry, at least as far as I know.
Yeah, if you were at the church any given morning when Lance and I are both there, you would be quite sure that we both have a serious case of COVID, but we both just we inherited it, I think, from both sides of our family, but lung issues, and then I've got my lungs were radiated from cancer, so we just cough a lot, and generally that's allergies or postnasal. So that's Angel, by the way. He wants to get baptized soon, so I'm excited about Angel. Yeah, he trusted Christ recently. Let me check my email, and why don't you check your text message? And if there's not any more, we will we'll wrap it up. Let's see here. Let's see. I might have a text message or two. Nope, I think I'm good on my side. If you guys don't have any more questions, it seems like we've touched the bases. It is 5:39, and my phone has a low battery. This could drop out any second. Let me just wrap up by saying tomorrow, if you haven't yet, go by the church website. What is the link?
The link we actually I don't think we put it on our website.
I saw it.
Hang on. ebcnewington.com/drive-by.
Yeah, ebcnewington.com/drive-by. Okay. If you lose any of that anywhere along the way, just email me, or really any of the pastoral staff will send you the link. It will help us if you reserve. Okay, it'll help us just with traffic flow. You can still come if you don't get a chance to reserve. Pick a time and come, we're really excited to see you. So just some final wrap up instructions for tomorrow. 30-minute increments. So we really, if you want to visit longer than that, I want to encourage you to take that visit somewhere off-site. Not that you're not welcome to the church parking lot, all that's good and fine. I'm trying to let the city of Newington and the Newington police know that we're staying compliant. So my thought is if we get 100 and 150 cars or whatever on the lot, even if they're not in the building, people in the building, it's going to look like we're gathering a lot more people than we really are. So 30-minute increments, try to keep that in mind. We want to keep the building flow to 15 or 20 minutes. So you're going to want to come in, see the surprise we have for you, spend a minute in the auditorium if you're coming in, and then quickly head out to the parking lot. And you're welcome to stand socially distanced or to sit in a lawn chair on the parking lot for a little while and visit with friends. You're welcome to take that to a park or to another parking lot somewhere if you just want to hang out longer. At this stage of this journey, I actually encourage you to connect with your church family in ways that are reasonable and safe. Nothing wrong with you getting together with 2 or 3 other families that you're comfortable getting together with and watching church, for instance, on a Sunday morning together, if you're not able to come. So we can start doing some things like that, I think. And again, that's whatever you're comfortable with. When we're here, we want to keep the kids with us. We want to be thoughtful of others. We really don't want physical contact. Now, we can't mandate that. All we can do is ask you to be very, very cautious in that way and compliant. And other than that, we are really looking. Last thing, we're streaming the service, okay? But we're streaming it 3 separate times. We pre-recorded but we're going to stream it at 8 o'clock, at 10 o'clock, and at noon, same service. None of them are live in the auditorium. So if you're coming expecting a service in the auditorium, there's not one. But 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and noon, you can jump on any of our streams and watch the worship service, share the worship, like always. And I hope you will. Tomorrow's message is really, I think, really important from Hebrews 10. Fear less in readiness. And it is it's the last of the Fearless series. So that wraps up tomorrow. Other than that, those of you that are comfortable coming, we are very much looking forward to seeing you. Early this week, I hope that we will be able to publish to you a first tier of our intentions and guidelines and gathering plans. And there's a chance, since we're allowed to have 50, there's a chance we might start doing that even next week or the following week. So it would be by reservation, and maybe we could cycle through and start seeing each other a little bit. So anything else you want to add?
I would just say, church family, I mean, please know, obviously, that we're, as a pastoral staff and as a leadership team, just really praying over these things. And I have a binder in my office that's about this thick, and it's just of, other churches' plans and CDC guidelines and, different articles that we've read. And we've been talking for, the last few weeks, months even, about, these upcoming weeks. So just know that we're soaking it in prayer and that we're trying to get wisdom. And if you have a concern or a need, just, reach out to us, whether it's through our Facebook page or through email, and we'll try and help you out.
We are also studying other churches' plans.
We are.
I mean, probably 20 or 30 different churches. And we're paying the closest attention to the churches that are in demographic areas like ours and about the size of ours. And some states, those churches are already opening, and their openings are going well. I say opening, regathering. And so we are really vetting our plans against what others are doing and trying to learn from them as well. So you pray for us and pray for wisdom. And thank you for joining us and for interacting with us a little bit here. I want to make sure I don't have any questions before I wrap up. Okay, have a great Saturday night, and we will hopefully see you tomorrow. And if we don't, stay safe and stay healthy, and be sure to engage with worship and the Word of God tomorrow. Thank you for your faithfulness.